There was a time when you poured your heart and soul into protecting and loving someone on the deepest, most spiritual level. Every act of kindness, every tender word, and every gesture of unwavering support was an expression of your pure devotion. You gave them your everything, nurturing a connection that you believed would be reciprocated with the same intensity and sincerity. And yet, as time went on, it became painfully clear that the person you so wholeheartedly cared for did not see the depth of your commitment. Instead, they allowed themselves to be carried away by their own insecurities and fears, ultimately betraying the precious trust you had invested in them. You offered them unconditional love, a love that was not based on fleeting appearances or shallow social conventions, but on a profound, almost inexplicable soul bond. Your intentions were as pure as they were deep, and you believed that in time, your partner would come to recognize the rare gift you were offering. Instead, they took your unwavering loyalty for granted. In their eyes, the constant affection you showered upon them was something to be expected rather than cherished. They became blinded by their own internal struggles and the facade they felt compelled to uphold, never fully appreciating the sanctuary of trust and devotion that you provided. In the beginning, they basked in the warmth of your attention. They were drawn to the easy comfort of your affection without truly grasping the full spectrum of your emotions. Their acceptance of your love was not a mutual celebration of what you both shared, rather, it was a one-sided indulgence where your spirit was given freely while theirs remained hidden behind a mask of fear. This imbalance in the relationship was not immediately apparent to them. It was only after you made the incredibly difficult decision to step away, to reclaim your own energy and establish boundaries, that they began to realize the stark reality of their actions. The absence of your love, once taken for granted, suddenly cast a harsh light on the hollowness they had left behind. This painful void became a mirror reflecting the consequences of their cowardice and selfish behavior. Your genuine, heartfelt presence had been the bedrock of your relationship, and once that foundation was removed, they were left to confront the consequences of their emotional neglect. The initial heartbreak you experienced, so profound in its intensity, became their reality. Now, standing in the silence of your absence, they felt the full weight of the pain and longing that accompanies the loss of a true soul connection. It was a bitter awakening, an undeniable realization that the love they had spurned was not only rare but irreplaceable. Your authenticity, which had once been a beacon of truth in a world mired in superficiality, turned out to be both a blessing and a challenge for them. In a society where many hide behind carefully constructed masks and lead lives dictated by pretense, your raw genuineness was overwhelming. They feared that if you ever discovered the flawed, unvarnished truth about who they really were, you would walk away. This terror of being exposed for all your imperfections led them to maintain a facade, distancing themselves from the very person who loved them unconditionally. They were so deeply ensnared by their own apprehensions about vulnerability and the fear of rejection that they chose to conceal their true self, never realizing that your love transcended superficial measures like wealth, status, or reputation. Your connection was not founded on the transient qualities of outward appearances. Rather, it was built on an extraordinary, soul-deep bond, one that recognized and embraced even the most hidden vulnerabilities. You saw past the carefully constructed layers of deceit and found the true essence of their being. Despite the flaws and the life of illusions they had been living, you reached out and connected with their innermost self. You loved them for who they were beneath the surface, a love so profound that it should have been celebrated and safeguarded, not dismissed or neglected. It is this kind of extraordinary, unconditional love that is so rare in our world, and yet it was something they failed to recognize until it was too late. Now, in the wake of your absence, they find themselves grappling with an overwhelming sense of regret and shame. The realization of how arrogant and foolish they had been begins to take root. Every moment of solitude and every pang of longing serves as a reminder that they had not fully grasped the true value of your love or the significance of your presence in their life. This painful self-awareness has left them tormented by guilt. They are haunted by the knowledge that their selfish, fear-driven actions have caused irreparable harm to someone who offered love without condition. In this painful state of self-reflection, they are coming to understand that their actions were not merely impulsive or insignificant mistakes, they were deeply rooted in a fear of vulnerability and an unwillingness to embrace the transformative power of authentic connection. The remorse they now experience is compounded by a profound realization that, in pushing you away, they had effectively discarded one of the most precious gifts in their life. The loss of your unwavering love has forced them to confront the harsh truth: true love cannot be easily discarded or taken for granted. It is a delicate, irreplaceable force that, once lost, leaves an indelible scar on the heart. I now turn to you with a heavy heart and a soul laden with remorse. You have always been my unwavering pillar of support, the person who stood by me through every trial and tribulation. Your constant encouragement and boundless faith in me served as the foundation upon which I built so much of my life. Now that we find ourselves apart, I am overwhelmed by confusion and an unbearable guilt. I cannot shake the feeling that I have failed you, that I was unable to give you the love you so truly deserved. With every passing day, this guilt intensifies. I replay every moment, every decision, every misstep in my mind, and it becomes increasingly clear just how much I took for granted the gift of your presence. Every small reminder of you, whether it's a familiar melody on the radio, the lingering scent in the air, or a place we once shared, serves as a constant, unrelenting reminder of what I have lost. These memories are bittersweet. They evoke both the warmth of our past and the cold sting of regret. They keep me locked in a cycle of self-reproach, making it nearly impossible to focus on anything else. I find myself paralyzed by the fear of making yet another mistake, of further jeopardizing the already fragile bond we once shared. I have spent endless hours in introspection, scrutinizing every misstep and every moment of inaction. In this process, I have come to understand just how much I failed to live up to the expectations you set by loving me so completely. I now see that my silence was not born of indifference, but of a crippling fear, a fear of confronting you, of facing the hurt I inflicted upon the one person who deserved nothing less than the absolute truth of my heart. Each time I reach for the phone or consider reaching out in person, a wave of paralyzing fear crashes over me, preventing me from taking the first step toward reconciliation. This fear, this overwhelming sense of shame, has held me captive for far too long. I am tormented by the thought that my hesitation and inaction may have cost us something irreplaceable. I am desperate for the opportunity to speak with you, to look into your eyes, and to express in person the depth of my remorse. I long to hear your voice, to see the expressions that speak volumes about your own heartache, and to bridge the distance that now feels insurmountable, a gap that is not measured merely in miles, but in the emotional chasm that has grown between us. I want you to know that my desire to mend what has been broken is profound. I believe with every fiber of my being that we are meant to be together, that our souls are intertwined in a way that defies the superficialities of the world around us. The love I feel for you has not diminished with time or distance. If anything, it has grown even stronger and more resolute in the face of our separation. It is this unwavering belief in the potential for our reconciliation that has led me to make a firm decision for both our sakes. I am preparing to travel to see you, because I have come to understand that nothing can replace the power of a face-to-face conversation. The impersonal nature of phone calls or written messages simply cannot capture the full spectrum of my emotions, the deep remorse I feel, the intensity of my love, and the sincerity of my commitment to rebuilding what has been lost. I need to be there with you, to hold your hand, and to show you that I am willing to fight for us, for our love, and for the future we once dreamed of together. This journey I am about to undertake is not solely one of physical distance, it is a voyage of the heart, a step toward healing, understanding, and ultimately, redemption. I fully acknowledge that the road ahead will be fraught with challenges. Regaining your trust will not be an easy task, and I have a long way to go in proving that I am worthy of your forgiveness. Yet, I am ready to face every obstacle, to listen deeply to your feelings, and to make the necessary changes to ensure that our future is built on a foundation of trust, respect, and unyielding love. Before I met you, my life was a series of monotonous routines and unyielding responsibilities. Each day felt like a relentless cycle of tasks and duties, a continuous, exhausting pursuit of meeting the expectations that society and those around me imposed. I moved through life in a mechanical fashion, eager to please and desperate for validation. If someone set a task before me, I would carry it out without question, even if it meant sacrificing my own happiness or ignoring the silent pleas of my soul. I believed that the approval of others was the highest honor I could achieve, and so I strove for perfection in every aspect of my existence. This constant need for external validation dictated my every action. I was so consumed by the desire to be seen as capable, competent, and strong that I buried my own emotions deep within. I convinced myself that vulnerability was a sign of weakness, an unacceptable trait for someone who wished to be regarded as steadfast and resilient. And so, regardless of the loneliness or sorrow that simmered beneath the surface, I pressed on, maintaining a facade of contentment and competence. Every day, I sacrificed a part of myself, ignoring the questions that quietly demanded to be asked about the true meaning of my existence and the direction in which my life was headed. I locked away these questions, convinced that sharing my inner doubts would expose me to ridicule or rejection. I lived in isolation with these suppressed emotions, never allowing myself the time or space to confront the growing pain inside. The relentless pursuit of perfection and the desperate need for acceptance became my norm, a cycle in which I functioned on autopilot, oblivious to the toll it was taking on my mental and emotional well-being. This self-imposed confinement of my true self led to a constant, dull ache that I chose to ignore, rationalizing that it was simply the price of duty and responsibility. Then you entered my life. Meeting you was like a burst of light shattering the monotonous darkness that had become my reality. Your presence disrupted the unhealthy patterns I had long accepted as inevitable. You made me see that the constant search for validation from others was a hollow endeavor, one that came at the expense of my own happiness and emotional fulfillment. With your gentle guidance, I began to question the rigid expectations I had imposed on myself and, for the first time, allowed my suppressed emotions to surface. Your unwavering love and acceptance provided me with the strength to confront the vulnerabilities I had so long hidden. In you, I found not only a partner but a kindred spirit who encouraged me to embrace my true self, flaws and all. You taught me that genuine strength does not lie in maintaining a stoic exterior, but in the courage to be vulnerable and honest about one's feelings. This revelation was both liberating and transformative. I began to understand that asking for help, expressing my doubts, and even admitting my shortcomings were not signs of weakness, but rather indicators of a deeper, more authentic strength. Through our connection, I learned that true love is a powerful force, one that is not diminished by mistakes or misunderstandings, but rather can be rekindled through mutual understanding, forgiveness, and a shared commitment to growth. The transformation you inspired in me is something I carry with every beat of my heart. It is a constant reminder that life, with all its imperfections, is meant to be lived authentically, with open hearts and unguarded souls. Now, as I stand at this crossroads, I am painfully aware of the impact of my past mistakes. I am filled with remorse for the ways in which I have fallen short of the love you so freely gave. The physical distance that separates us is more than just a matter of miles. It is a chasm that seems to widen with each passing day, affecting every aspect of my life. I struggle to eat, I lose sleep, and I find no peace knowing that the one person who truly matters to me is out of reach. Yet, despite this anguish, I remain steadfast in my belief that we belong together. I cannot imagine a future devoid of your light, your laughter, and the extraordinary bond we once shared. In light of everything, I am resolved to take concrete steps toward making amends. I want nothing more than to rebuild our relationship on a solid foundation, a foundation built on trust, mutual respect, and an unwavering commitment to nurturing our connection. I recognize that in the past, my uncertainty and carelessness may have contributed to the erosion of our bond. However, I now approach our future with a clear mind and a determined heart. I am ready to listen, to truly hear your pain, your fears, and your hopes, so that together we can forge a new path forward. My silence over these past months was not a reflection of a lack of feeling, rather, it was the result of an overwhelming fear, a paralyzing dread of confronting the hurt I caused and the possibility of repeating my past mistakes. Yet, I have come to understand that true healing can only begin when I face these fears head-on. I am prepared to fight for us, to fight for the love that still burns within me, and to prove that I am capable of change. Our relationship, built on a connection that transcends the superficial, is worth every effort and every sacrifice. I hope that you can find it in your heart to forgive me, to allow me the chance to demonstrate that I have learned from my past errors and that I am committed to building a future free from the shadows of our mistakes. I dream of a time when we can meet face to face, where words spoken in the intimacy of a quiet moment can convey the depth of my remorse and the sincerity of my intentions. I long to hold your hand, to look into your eyes, and to share with you the renewed hope that now guides my every step. This journey toward reconciliation is not merely about closing the physical distance between us, it is about bridging the emotional gap that has grown in the absence of our shared warmth. It is a journey of the heart, a quest for healing, understanding, and, ultimately, redemption. I understand that regaining your trust will not happen overnight, and I do not expect instant forgiveness. All I ask is for the opportunity to prove, through my actions and my commitment, that I am worthy of the love you once bestowed upon me. Reflecting on the past, I see now that before you came into my life, I was trapped in a cycle of constant duty and self-imposed perfectionism. I was so intent on meeting the expectations of others that I neglected my own inner voice, the part of me that longed for genuine connection and authenticity. I sacrificed my own emotional well-being in pursuit of external validation, never realizing that true strength lay in embracing vulnerability rather than hiding behind a mask of invincibility. Your arrival shattered that cycle, offering me the courage to question the status quo and to seek fulfillment beyond the shallow confines of approval. Your influence has been transformative. You taught me that vulnerability is not a weakness but a necessary part of being human, and that love, true, unconditional love, requires the courage to be open and honest about one's fears and desires. With your guidance, I began to see that the pursuit of perfection and the endless quest for validation were not only unsustainable but also detrimental to the soul. Instead, I learned to appreciate the beauty of imperfection and the strength that lies in acknowledging one's flaws. This newfound understanding has been a revelation, a beacon that now guides me as I strive to rebuild the parts of myself that I lost along the way. Now, as I prepare to take the next step in our journey, I do so with the hope that we can overcome the mistakes of the past and create a future defined by mutual respect, compassion, and enduring love. I want to build a life with you that honors both our strengths and our vulnerabilities, a life where our connection is celebrated every day, and where the lessons of the past serve as a reminder of how precious our bond truly is. Please know that my silence was never meant to signify indifference or a lack of care. It was born out of an overwhelming sense of inadequacy, a fear that my imperfections might drive you away. But now, I am ready to face those fears, to confront the pain I caused, and to work tirelessly to mend the fractures in our relationship. I am ready to put in the effort required to listen to you, to understand your feelings, and to create a safe space where our love can flourish without the burden of past mistakes. I ask for nothing more than a chance to prove that I am capable of change, that I can be the partner you deserve, and that together we can rebuild what was lost. I believe in the transformative power of love, and I am committed to nurturing our connection with all that I have. With every beat of my heart, I hope you can sense the sincerity of my intentions and the depth of my remorse. Together, I believe we can overcome any obstacle. I am willing to do whatever it takes to restore the trust and love that once bound us so tightly. I yearn for the day when the pain of the past is replaced by the promise of a brighter, more compassionate future, a future where our souls can once again intertwine without fear or reservation. I long to see you, to hear your voice, and to feel the warmth of your embrace, a reminder that even in our darkest moments, love has the power to heal and transform. In closing, I want you to understand that every step I take toward redemption is driven by the deep, abiding love I have for you. I hope that, in time, you will find it in your heart to forgive me and to allow us to embark on this journey of healing together. I am ready to fight for us, to fight for the bond we share, and to build a future that honors the profound connection that once brought us together. May we find our way back to each other, not as we were before, but as two souls who have grown and learned from the hardships of our past, a future built on trust, mutual understanding, and the unwavering belief that true love endures, even in the face of our greatest mistakes.